Hello everyone, this is Sang-hoon Lee, also known as Samson Lee. He was a former vocalist for a rock band, proud owner of a hair and makeup shop, and now a pundit for NBC Sports Plus. But before that, he was a left-handed pitcher that played in 3 different leagues, including the Red Sox, in a career spanning 10 years. The more I researched about him, there were so many interesting things to talk about, but I want to focus on the beginning of his career. He entered the KBO draft after graduating from Korea University, and he was considered an elite prospect as he posted a 12-2 record with a 2.39 ERA in college. However, the problem was, KBO draft system has something called a hometown base system. And how it works is in the first round, teams can only select one prospect that is from their respective base city or region. It was so that the teams will help fund and develop baseball programs within their area. This was not a problem for all the other teams as they're the only teams in the region, but Sang-hoon was from Seoul. And what teams are based in Seoul at the time? Well, the Doosan Bears and LG Twins. Both teams wanted to draft him and are not going to give up a potential left-handed ace, especially knowing he might end up with the other Seoul team. So, what did KBO do to decide which team gets to draft him? Maybe previous season record, or the amount of signing bonus, or maybe just asking the player which team he wants to play for. I mean, that seems pretty fair, right? Because if he plays in a team that he doesn't want to... Nope. It was decided by a pair of dice. I'll tell you who won later. But this is just one story out of a long history of rivalry between these two teams, otherwise known as the Jamsil series. To learn the history of this rivalry, we have to go back to the very beginning of the Korean Baseball League. In the early 80s, many companies in Korea offered to create baseball franchises for the new KBO League, and most of them wanted to play their franchises based in Seoul. However, KBO stated the companies can only have franchises in the respective regions of which their company was formed originally. So, most accepted, but except the Doosan Group. This was because Doosan was formed in Seoul. However, the media giant NBC, who played a big part in the formation of the league itself, was already planning to have a team in Seoul. Doosan was determined and protested, so a compromise was made with the KBO and NBC by agreeing to have their team return to Seoul after playing 3 years in the city of Daejeon, as that was the only major region to not have a baseball franchise at the time. In the end, NBC created the NBC Cheongryong, or the NBC Blue Dragons, and Doosan the Obi Bears in 1982. Don't feel bad for the Bears, as they eventually became the first ever Korean Series winner that same year. So after 3 years, the Bears planned their move and decided to play in Dongdaemun Stadium in the northern part of Seoul. The problem was though, Dongdaemun Stadium was the mecca for high school and amateur baseball competitions. So there was a lot of resistance from different amateur organizations, and the Bears had to compromise again. The Bears instead opted to play in Jamsil Stadium in the southern part of Seoul, while the problem with the Dongdaemun Stadium was being sorted. However, there was one more problem. NBC was already playing there. NBC knew it was only temporary, so they both agreed to the terms and the stadium will be shared for just a little while. Right? So, what happened after was in 1990, NBC decided to sell the team to LG, and the team was transferred from NBC Blue Dragons to the LG Twins. Funnily enough that year, LG Twins won their first Korean series, which they haven't achieved even when they were the Blue Dragons. What is it with these teams winning their first season? Anyway, going back to the Sang-hoon Lee situation. So the way they decided to determine who gets to draft him was by tallying up the numbers of 3 rolls. Both teams were so keen to win that they actually had the people practice rolling the dice before the day in question. On the day of the duel, the Bears won the first roll by 10-8. On the second roll, Bears rolled 1-1 and lost to the Twins by 5-2. But they were only trailing by 1. and it all came down to the final roll. The Twins signed Sang-hoon for 200 million won, which is equivalent to $440,000 today, becoming the highest signing bonus ever at the time in the KBO. Sang-hoon eventually played as a starter and as a closer, and helped the team to their second Korean Series victory in '94. In '95, he had a 20-win season with an ERA of 2 and became regarded as one of the greatest players in franchise history. And the Bears could have had him if they were just better at rolling the dice. But like I said before, don't feel bad for the Bears. You'll see why. Since 1990, the Twins and the Bears had only 3 trades within the last 30 years. The first one happening at the inception of the Twins. The Twins needed a starter pitching, and the Bears had a veteran pitcher of Il-yeon Choi, who was their longtime ace, but struggled in the year before, and the team was looking to load him off. Meanwhile, the Bears were looking for a power hitter, and the Twins offered a young third baseman Sang-hoon Kim in exchange. The deal was made, and Choi struggled, but considering the Twins won the Korean Series that year, it seemed like the first trade was a win for the Twins. However, even though Kim struggled at the beginning, the Bears saw his potential as a hitter and moved him to the outfield so that he has less defensive pressure on him. 5 years later, a year after Twins' title-winning season, Kim posted 25 home runs and 101 RBIs and was the first player to be the leader in home runs while playing in Jamsil as their home. Jamsil Stadium's dimensions are quite large and similar size to Kauffman Stadium in KC, so it's not an easy place to hit home runs, and the 90s were a pitcher-dominated era for Korean baseball, which became a major factor for Kim to receive the votes for the MVP that year. Kim beat out his competition Sang-hoon Lee with a 20-win record. And here you might say that seems pretty unfair, and you're not wrong, but there was another reason for his MVP win.